Hey violas, it's Miss Lawrence again. This is Lawrence String Studio. This is the TMEA Kreutzer Etude number 26, part 3. And we're gonna start at measure 27, the second note. So we're gonna start up bow right there. And we're gonna stop after the whole note before measure 40. That's gonna be our section 3. And then from 40 on is gonna be section 4. So I wanna talk to you about a few things before we play through it. The first thing is there's some F flats in here and some C flats, which kind of hurt my brain just a little bit. But as I kept digging through it, I thought, you know what? This sounds really logical, it makes sense. If you've been practicing your scales and arpeggios on a regular basis, this fits really nicely. So I feel like the D flat and F flat interval is a really challenging interval, especially when you have to play a B flat right after that. So my example is measure 28, beat 2. I'm gonna play that separate bows just so you can hear it. The F flat is way back here on your, basically your E natural tape, right? So your second finger is just doing a big old dance right here. And sometimes the back of my hand can kind of feel real tight if I'm not having good relaxation right there. So be really careful about that. Also the C flats in measure 32, you got a whole bunch of them. And I wanted to point out that fingering to you on measure 32. So find that guy real quick. You'll see on beat 2, you're gonna shift to third position. No big deal on the 1, all right? On beat 3, you see another 1 there, and you see a Roman numeral 2 underneath. That Roman numeral 2 just means on the D string. So yeah, you're shifting up to 6th position. So be aware of that. You'll see me demonstrate that here in just a second. I wanted to give you also a practice hack for these octaves. You should have crossed out the tiny notes that are underneath that are kind of stuck in between the 3rd line and the 4th line there on that page. We're not doing that. That's part of the errata. This is tenths. Those are tenths, and I'm glad we're not doing that. We're doing octaves. So a practice hack to get those octaves in tune is just to do the octaves by themselves. Think of enharmonic spelling, the relative note name, because sometimes C flat hurts my brain. That's that first one there in measure 33. But if I say B natural in my head, not so bad. So there it is right there, but it's way up here in 6th. That's the first one. And then G flat, also known as F sharp, find it. Next one is an A, I can find it here, match. First position E, easy cheesy. Now this one, you play later on in beat 2 and 35, you're gonna play a G sharp. If you keep that in your ear, you can match, also known as A flat, after the key change, so. And then the last one is the E flat. So that's a really great practice hack to double check and make sure that you've got all of those guys in tune because the stuff in between, the notes in between those octaves are not too bad. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is measure 38. That measure is gnarly. You're jumping way up on your instrument, 6th position. But to get those two notes in treble, the first 2 notes in treble clef, I've put right there an X2 and an X4. So when you go to the first finger on 6th position, and then you have those next 2 notes in treble clef, go ahead and put an X2 and an X4 because I feel like that's just going to be quite a bit of an easier stretch right there than playing a 3 to a 4. That's going to be a real challenge right there. So hang on for just 1 second. We're going to play through this for you, and it's going to be a little bit slower. Quarter note equals 74. The tempo they're asking for is 84, but this is a good tempo to kind of for learning purposes. The bow technique, which we talked about in the introduction to the Kreutzer, which we recorded a couple weeks ago, the bow technique is a bouncing bow stroke so you can achieve that staccato sound. It's a little hard to do at a slower tempo, but I think you can manage it. And if that bowing still escapes you, work on just your left hand for right now, and then you can add in the right hand when you feel more confident. So good skill, violas. Here we go. Let's play through it.